Hello and welcome. My name is Mike Rambuya, and today we're going to talk about a new deck that I've kind of made, but within the parameters of a new format that the Digimon TCG have announced for store events. Now, store events are kind of more for your local game stores that have kind of unique pricing and whatnot. It does begin, I believe, at the end of March, and this format is very interesting, but we'll talk about that. But today, for the deck we're going to try to build to respect these rules is going to be a ground Locomon deck. So, what are these deck rules? Well, we're going to use the common and uncommon limited format, and it exactly sounds like it does. You can own cards with rarity of rare, super rare, secret rares, and even promo cards cannot be used. Now, alt arts of commons and uncommons are allowed, but anything with rare or higher and even promo cards cannot be used. Now, this takes out several different deck archetypes: Royal Knights, Royal Base, Dinomon, um, Wigurumon, Omnimon, a bunch of others. But also the lack of promo cards also will make a difference because things like the colored scrambles, the colored green memory boost, and the in trainings are all promo cards, which means they cannot be used in your deck. So you got luckily there are other boost cards that can kind of fill in the gap there as far as options to gain your memory. Um, but of course, it's not just Digimon cards. This applies to your entire deck. So both your Digi-Eggs, your Tamers, and your options, along with your Digimon, are also affected by this rule. So basically, your entire deck can only be uncommons or commons. Um, and surprisingly, there are still deck archetypes that don't get hit. And Machine is one of them. Luckily, there are a abundance of Machine cards that can be used, and so I slapped together this ground Locomon deck to kind of be used in this limited format. So let's get down into what the deck actually does and what it is meant to do. So, for the deck breakdown, we're going to look at the Digi-Eggs first. We're going to use 4 copies of EX2 Hopmon. We are going to get a Black Tamer. This is actually one of the few Digi eggs in black that I felt like had a more universal feel. A lot of them were titled like X Antibody, Digi Police, or had the save mechanic. Um, so I went with Hotmon because we are going to use a tamer, and a tamer that I kind of like to use with machines and cyborgs. But yeah, 4 copies of Hotmon. And to the main deck, we're going to go pull from EX1 a Hagurumon. He has an on play of you may trash 1 Digimon card with machine or cyborg in a stray to draw 2. Uh, Putting machines into your graveyard, or into your trash. My brain went to Yu-Gi-Oh for a quick second there. Into your trash is going to be a common trait we're going to use, especially when we get up to ground Locomon. Next, we're also going to use 3 copies of Hagurumon X Anybody from BT16, basically to trigger his when Digivolving effect to get a Hagurumon token, which has blocker and decoy. Blocker is a very big mechanic in black, and we're also going to use that as well. So um, for one of our option cards. So it will kind of make sense what the theme of this deck is, but we are here to trash, and also gives the inheritable of blocker to any 4 level higher Digimon. And to round up the level 3s, we're going to use 4 copies of Hagurumon from BT15. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with machine or cyborg trait, and 1 black tamer. Among them, return the rest about him, and has Reboot. This Digimon also unsuspends during your opponent's unsuspended phase. Reboot and Blocker is actually a great combination to have because even if you attack with your Digimon on that turn. Uh, Due to the reboot, they unsuspend, and now if they have the blocker trait, now they can also block. So tie that with Haguramon X Anybody, and most of your level 4s or higher should be able to be blockers now. Going up to level 4s, we're going to use Gardramon from EX1. He has blocker, and on your turn, this Digimon can't attack. He'll has the inheritable of when attacking, I can trash a Digimon card with Machine or Cyborg and draw 2 cards. Again, we want machines into our trash to power up one of the Grand Locomons we are going to be using in this deck. Next, from BT15, we're using another Gardramon. This is also a blocker, but this one also has the on-play when Digivolving by trashing 1 card with Machine or Cyborg in its hand. One of your Digimon can't be deleted by this effect. While your opponent has no Digimon, this Digimon can't attack on your turn. He also has inheritable of a Reboot. So then again, Digivolving not allow Digimon to be deleted by effects, and there are plenty of effects in the current game that allow just instant deletion. So hopefully you can keep some Digimon on the field, and we have another blocker to kind of protect you from any attacks. Next, we're going to pull BT17 Trailmon. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Tamer or 1 Digimon come with Machine among them, and then trash the rest. This is going to help to put more trash cards into your trash, so you can power up Grand Locomon, as well as a way to search for the Tamer and the Machine cards that you need. Also, it has inheritable of your turn. While this Digimon has a machine, it gains collision. Collision is a mechanic that kind of forces your opponent to block. So if I were to attack with a Digimon with collision, all my opponent's Digimon gain blocker and they have to block. So this is a way to kind of force some Digimon to fight, and as a way to possibly remove some clear out your opponent's field. Going up to level 5s, we're going to have Locomon from BT17. All turns, once per turn, when an attack is switched, reveal the top 3 cards, place 1 Parasite or level 5 or lower black Digimon card among these as the Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, and then trash the rest. I didn't use any Parasects because I was Parasectmon because I was mainly sticking towards machines, but this is going to pair great with one of the ground Locomons we are using. And then all turns, when one of your effects adds when one of your Digimon effects adds to this Digimon's Digivolution cards, this Digimon may Digivolve into ground Locomon in the hand without paying the cost, without paying it. So that's just a way for us to get ground Locomon onto the field at a much cheaper, if in the case free. Next, we're also again going to use EX2's Locomon, which just has the effect of your turn when this Digimon would Digivolve into ground Locomon in hand, reduces evolution by 1. So we have 2 options to get into ground Locomon at cheap or free, and that's kind of the game plan there. Next, looking at BT17 ground Locomon, he has Piercing. On play when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, place 1 level 5 or lower black Digimon card among them as the bottom Digivolution card, trash the rest. And then, when it attacks, at the end of the attack once per turn, you may play 1 level 5 or lower Digimon card with Machine trait from this Digimon Digivolution card without paying the cost. And given that we have Collision, even in collision, Piercing does allow you to still do a security check even if your opponent tries to block you. So use Piercing to go through that Digimon, get a security check, and now you can play out one of your Digivolution cards to then possibly start another stack, or if to get another blocker out there, you put Gardramon underneath this Digimon's if he is in that Digivolution stack, so that way you can have a blocker to use on your opponent's turn. And wrapping up our Digimon cards is EX2 Ground Locomon. Your turn, this Digimon can't attack your opponent's Digimon, so he can only do direct attacks. So he definitely does not want to have the collusion trait. And part of that is because for each card in your trash with the cyborg machine in its trait, this Digimon gets 1000 DP. So this is definitely one that you kind of you don't want to use the collision effect on, but having it reboot in game blocker can make him a pretty effective blocker, especially if you get 1000 DP for every machine, and if you put in 5 machines, that's extra 5000, and now you have a 16k blocker with reboot. But yeah, so kind of a setup for a more defensive mon with this Grand Locomon, since he can't attack your opponent's Digimon, but that's only on your turn, so your opponent may try to trigger them to get him to attack on their turn, and there's playing cards that do as well. Next up, we're going to use only 3 copies of Kazu Shioda. At the start of phase, if you have a Digimon with Machine of Cyborg in its traits, in play, gain 1 memory. All turns, when one of your Digimon or Cyborg in its trait becomes suspended, you may suspend this tamer to draw 1 and then trash 1 card in hand. That's kind of a way to go through your deck, find what you need, and then trash a machine card to boost up EX2 Ground Locomon. Next up is Waltz N. This cost 6 option has the main effect: until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon gains opponent's turn. When the Digimon becomes suspended, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with play cost less or equal to this Digimon's. And also opponent's turn, this Digimon isn't affected by your opponent's option cards. So again, this is a great way to set up EX2 Ground Locomon to be a blocker, because when he becomes suspended, to block, or if your opponent suspends it through a various effect, or even with the use of collision, which forces them to become suspended, or block, you can now delete a bunch of your opponent's Digimon that have less play cost than Ground Locomon. This also works great at some of the lower levels, even with Gardamon to maybe stop any rookie rushes, or any setup, especially with armors, as well, or get rid of some of the more cheaper option cards. Basically, it's a way to stop your opponent's setup. Its security effect is to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. So this is more a way to kind of clear your opponent's field, and we're using 3 copies of that. Next is Pride Memory Boost from BT7. This is going to kind of be more the place of like Black Memory Boost. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 card with a play cost of 4 or less among them without paying its memory cost, and then I trash the remaining cards, place this card into my battle area. So this is a way to get a Digimon out for free, and then maybe add some more machines to your trash to power up Grand Locomon. And then it has the delay effect of gain 2 memory. Security effect: just place this card into its owner's battle area. And to wrap it up, next up is Blazing Storm of Metal. Blazing Storm of Metal is a 1-cost option with the main effect of until the end of your opponent's turn, all your Digimon with reboot get 1000 DP and blocker. So we give reboot through inheritable effects, and even though they may not blocker, they at least now become blocker. We team up with Waltz N, which basically says, hey, if I suspend my Digimon on your turn, I'm going to delete all your Digimon that have equal or less value play cost than that one I'm using to block. So it's kind of an interesting combo to play from Waltz N, as well as just secure that you have a defensive wall on your turn. And that is basically the idea of the deck. But yeah, so hopefully you guys find some use of this. or in the comments down below if you want to put in what you are planning to play with this common, uncommon, limited deck. I'll be interested to see what people come up with. And I believe that's going to be the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. You made it this far. Let me know any other deck archetypes you think will thrive if you can only use commons and uncommons. But until next time, may your pulls be blessed, stay safe, and have a good day. Bye-bye.